Good morning, world. I am Judy, your web based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida, in New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. Today, I want to talk about 5 things we need to do to help raise stronger or stronger Black children. Or because one of the things that we've been talking about, or that I've heard talked about recently, is how the school system, how society, how the people entrusted with the education of our children are not doing a good job teaching them about their history or teaching them about who they are. And consequently, our children are not growing up to get to have that sense of pride, to have that sense of understanding of who they are. They know a lot of the bad stuff. They know a lot of the current, I guess, the what do you call it, the pop culture part of our community, but they don't get as much of the history, as much as the strength, as much as what makes our community what it is, as much of the they don't know the history, beyond maybe a few things about slavery happened and this is how. So today I want to talk about 5 things that we as community, as society, needs to be doing. But before we get into that, I want to take a quick moment and say, if you are subscribed, thank you so very much for being a subscriber. And if you are not yet subscribed, please be sure to click the link below so that you can and subscribe. And of course, make sure you click the bell so that you are notified when I post new videos, which I am doing a little bit more regularly now. So, and of course, if you would like to buy 1 or 3 of my books, there's a link below that will take you to the website that will show you, that gives you all the options of places that you can get 1 or 3 of my books. Okay, so first is that we need to take time to teach about our history. We can't just wait for the school system to do it. Yes, part of what we need to work on is getting that to that point of equity where the schools are indeed fully teaching the children about their full history, the full history of this country. But while we're waiting, while we're working to get that to happen, we have an obligation to the children who are growing up today because hey, it's not in the syllabus, it's not in the education plan for this year, but what happens to the child who is in school this year? We don't get to say, hey, they miss it because it's not there yet. We have an obligation to make sure that we're teaching it, that we're teaching them their history, that we're teaching them about where they came from, where we came from, what we've done, all the good things, because our history is so rich. But our children, the generations coming up, don't always know enough about it, and that has led to a sense of somewhat of a disconnect with the culture, with the history, with the pride of who we are as a people. So we have to take the time and teach them about the history. Teach them what you know. Take them on field trips, because yes, the schools take them on trips, but you don't get to dictate. You don't get to really show them what history. You don't get to say what history is being taught when they go to the field trip to this museum or that park. It's up to us to take that time to invest the resources to teach our children about what makes them who they are so that they can develop that sense of pride in who they are. 2, we need to engage them in activities that instill pride. Our community is the Black community is very good about supporting anything. Anytime your local team is going into a playoff, is doing well, or maybe some big celebrity or somebody makes it big in some type of entertainment, we're really good about supporting that. But we need to start doing better about supporting the other stuff. We need to engage them in activities that will instill a sense of pride in who they are, and allowing them or letting them know that it's okay to do things other than be an entertainer, that it's okay to do things other than be an athlete. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff, but if you really think about it, most of our children are not going to grow up to be superstar athletes or big top selling entertainers. Most of our children are going to do other very impactful, like they will grow up to be super awesome scientists, or they can if we tell them that, hey, this is an option, this is something that you can do. It's up to us to engage them in activities that will instill a sense of pride. Um, I remember when I was in middle school, we had this middle passage program where it required me to get up on Saturday morning, which I'm not a very big fan of. I never have been, but it taught us so much. They took us on certain trips. They gave us opportunities to learn about what it really meant to what being Black really meant. It gave us an opportunity to learn about being Black, and it really helped us understand it. It really instilled a sense of pride, especially at that time where there was so much going on in Boston. It was just there was a lot going on with racial tension. So it made a difference. So giving children the opportunity to participate in things like that will instill a sense of pride, whether it's encouraging them to be the great scientists they are, encouraging them to be the great mathematician, whatever it is that is going to encourage that child or is going to give that child an opportunity to feel pride in themselves, to feel pride in who they are, feel pride in their skills, what they're able to do, and feel pride in being a Black person. So we need to make sure that we're engaging them or encouraging them to engage us in such activities. 3, we need to be praising them for doing well. It's not enough to wait until the child wins the championship or wins the spelling bee or do because we don't children don't do this stuff every day. Children don't win spelling bees every day. Children don't become national whatever every day. But every single day they do things that we should be proud of. They do things that they should be proud of. And we need to be making sure that we're taking the time to praise them for doing those things. Hey, if your child got up today and made sure that his baby sister was taken care of, and made sure that his baby brother was walked his baby brother to school, or I don't know, there are so many things that they do. If your child got up today and did well in school, if your child made himself breakfast or did her own hair, there are a lot of things. Our children are doing so many great things, but we're allowing them to be just everyday things, and we're not taking the time to acknowledge and praise them for all the great things that they're doing. And of course, once they get out there in society, we have the school is ready to get them punished because they talked in class. This teacher is ready to call them out for doing this. There are so many different places where our children are experiencing stress, where our children are being judged unfairly, where our children are not being encouraged. At home, with us, in our communities, they need to be getting that support. They need to be getting that positive message. They need to be reminded that, hey, you're a great kid. You are awesome. I think you're the world's, best you. It's up to us to be praising all the great things, all the effort, all the investment that they are making and growing into these wonderful young Black men and women that they are going to be. But if we're not taking the time to praise them and encourage them and giving them that positive attention, but we're going to lose them. We're losing them because we have a society that's telling them, hey, this is who you are. There are too many places where they're being told this is who they are. In our communities, in our homes, in our society, in our communities, we need to be telling them. We need to be making sure that we're praising, we're encouraging, and we're reinforcing that they are great, they are awesome, that they are capable of greatness. And hey, until the rest of society can catch up and start doing the same, we need to be making sure that we're doing it for our children. 4, encouraging them to explore the world. We are really good at pushing children to do certain things that are common for Black people. For instance, we will push a child to play football. We'll push a child to play basketball. We'll get up every day or every Saturday or 5 days a week and take a child to basketball practice. But we're not as many of us are not as diligent at encouraging children to do these other things that are not normally known as Black things. So we need to be encouraging these children to explore the world because there's so much going on. There's so many things there are so many opportunities, so many options for them, so many things that they can and will do and will excel at. But if we're not encouraging them to explore those opportunities, we are depriving them of the opportunity to learn or discover the rest of the world. There's a lot of world, there's a lot of opportunities, there are a lot of options beyond what they see in front of them every day, beyond their community. So we need to encourage them to explore. We need to encourage them to get to know things beyond what is right here in our communities. I mean, there are places here in Florida, there are golf courses, public golf courses are right here, but many children have never even seen or been on a golf course. And some of these children would probably excel, would probably do really well. There are museums where they get to explore and see and explore different careers, but they haven't been there, even though the museum is right there. So we need to be encouraging them to just explore the world and see things beyond what is normally commonly known as our things. And finally, read with them. Reading is one of the best ways to encourage people, to help people see the world beyond their everyday. But reading is also a great opportunity for teaching. If we really are interested in helping children learn history, reading is a great way to help them do that. If we really want children to learn about other things that are beyond their community, reading is a great way to do that. And reading helps build knowledge. Knowledge builds confidence. Knowledge builds strength. Reading awakens that sense of curiosity. Reading opens the eyes of that child. Reading gives them a whole new world. Reading is, okay, I'm talking a little bit too much about reading. As you can tell, I'm a little excited, but make sure that you're reading with children. And to that, a lot of times when I tell people to read and they read with children or I encourage children to read, they always say that, hey, it's hard to get children to read, or how do you get children to read? So my tips, how I always help people get children to read. One is family reading. It's one thing to tell the child, hey, read a book. But if the child sees mom or dad or mom and dad reading a book, it's a little bit easier. To get them family reading hour, if the whole family is sitting together and reading books, they don't have to be reading the same book, but they can be reading a book. And then afterwards, each person gets to, say what they read during that hour. And maybe you the family votes on whose summary they like better. And that person wins, the opportunity to pick dessert, whatever. Just make it fun, make it interesting, make it something that you do as a family. And one of the things I love to have people do is, because we're always talking about, hey, we need to teach children about history. Read a book with a child. You're reading the same book. You don't necessarily have to sit there. We're both reading the same book at the same time, but you can be reading a book, reading the same book and having discussions about that, because that will encourage the child to read. And that's an opportunity to teach that child about something. So reading. Let's do a quick recap. 1, take time to teach children about their history, because a lot of times the school system is not doing it. And if we want them to know it, it's up to us to make sure that we're teaching it. 2, engage them in activities that instill pride, because there is so much happening. There are opportunities. We need to be encouraging and giving them opportunities to feel that pride, but pride in self, pride in who they are, pride in being a Black child, a Black person. And we just need to engage them. 3, praise them for doing well. Whenever a child does well, make sure you take the time to acknowledge that and praise that, because a lot of times they're not getting that outside in the rest of the world. So it's up to us in our community to make sure we're doing it. 4, encourage them to explore the world, because there is so much world beyond the 4 walls of their home, beyond the boundaries of their community. So we need to be encouraging them to explore, because that's how they will develop that curiosity and end up finding the skills that, stuff that they excel at, they might not even realize existed. And finally, read with them. Have family reading hour, have community reading hour, read a book with a child, have family book discussion. Whatever you got to do, get your children reading, or at least read with your children. As always, if you or someone else happens to be going through something that's more than you can handle, please remember that even right now, when things are so chaotic, there are professionals like myself who are available, able, and willing to provide services and are even providing remote services. So please figure out who those people are in your community so that if you need the help, you can reach out and get the help that you need. And that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have an awesome day.